여러분 안녕하십니까? 미주종합일보 최인성입니다. 룩킹포맘은 말 그대로 70년대부터 90년대 미국으로 입양된 한인들의 이야기를 소개하고 한국의 친부모와 가족을 찾도록 돕는 그런 프로젝트입니다. 어린 나이에 가족을 잃고 다른 가족, 다른 나라, 또 다른 문화에서 삶을 시작한 우리 한국인 입양아는 한국전쟁 이후에 20만 명에 달합니다. 룩킹포맘은 이들 입양인들의 엄마 찾기는 보호받아야 할 중요한 권리라고 믿고 카메라를 켰습니다. 여러분 호돌이 기억하시나요? 88년 서울올림픽은 권위주의 시대를 마감하고 전 세계에 한국의 새로운 모습을 보여주는 좋은 계기가 되었습니다. 다 기억하실 텐데요. 전쟁의 상체기가 깊었던 한국이 드디어 한강의 기적을 뽐낼 기회였던 것이죠. 하지만 수많은 한국 아이들의 해외 입양은 여전히 진행형이었습니다. 광주광역시 한 고등학교 앞에서 발견돼 89년에 엘라바마 버밍햄으로 입양된 아이가 있었습니다. 올해 33살이 된 아만다 파월, 유혜민 씨의 이야기를 들어봅니다. 화상으로 초대합니다. 안녕하세요, 유혜민 씨.
안녕하세요.
How are you?
잘 지내세요? 어떻게 지내세요?
네, 잘 지내고 있습니다. 네, where are you now?
I am in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. What time is it over there? It's somewhere between 3 o'clock and
6 p.m.
Pacific time. 6 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to the paperwork that you sent us, we looked through, you were adopted in 1989, I'm sorry. What do you know about before 89, before you become 2 years old? What happened?
Well, the story that I know is that I was found on the steps of a high school in Gwangju with a bottle, some rice flour, and nothing else was mentioned. I was taken to an orphanage. No one claimed me, and I think I spent a little time in the orphanage, and then lived in foster care until I was adopted. So it was maybe a little more than a year from the time I was found to the time that I was adopted and came to the States.
I saw the older paperwork, the adoption documents and everything, and specifically say that your Korean name was Yu혜민, right? And do you remember who named you and how they named you?
According to the paperwork, it says that it was a social worker or someone that worked at the baby's home when they first found me that gave me the name. And all I know about it, like I don't have the hanja for it, but I think it means clever and helping, which actually I think is very descriptive of kind of who I am and how I am. So if the name fit, even if it wasn't my name at birth.
Okay, you do have your name in Hanja,
Oh,
and you do also have an original family there.
what's the other? That's what that I'm thinking of. That is like
Exactly.
the other
That
written
is
form.
right. That is right. And also
Yeah.
they gave you Hanyang Ryu, which is pretty much a new origin family. So they never existed before, but they just put you in there. You said you don't have that much of pictures back then, and you sent us this picture of a passport.
Yep, that's the youngest photo I have of myself.
It's interesting, right? It's interesting that you still have. I mean, you need a passport to go to United States to be adopted to this family, but you still have to renew another passport before you become a United States citizen. Is that right?
Right.
About this old picture, do you still remember when you were adopted or you were in the foster home? Any idea? Any
I have
memories?
memories. I do have a picture album that my foster family sent with me to America with that shows my time with them. I unfortunately don't have it with me here in New York, but it looked like I was, you know, with a happy family, with siblings and people who cared about me, who looked like me, and you know, it looks like my foster mother wrote, you know, some captions with it and tried to write in English as well, so I'd have those memories. So I really hold that very dear to my heart because it's the only piece of evidence I have that I was in Korea and living there when I was young.
I see. Now you were decided to be adopted out of country. I know you still have to remember, you have to cling on these oldest documents that you have in your file as a PDF file. Tell us about your adopted family. I know you were going through the Minnesota agency and actually settled in Birmingham, Alabama. Tell us about your experience back then.
Yeah, so my parents were born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. They're white. They had adopted a boy before me, my brother, who's 3 years older than me. They adopted him about 5 years before me. So I came into the family with a new sibling who looked like me, which was great. My parents were, you know, working class. They did the best they could to ensure that my brother and I had a good education. We went to a really good public school. You know, and they did the best they could in raising us and making us feel like, you know, we were part of the family and we belonged here, even though we didn't look the same. We, you know, they never made me feel like we were not family. And that goes to, you know, the same for our extended family, my aunts and uncles and grandparents as well.
I see. And we know you're from Gwangju, and your brother, another adopted sibling, I was told that he's from Daegu, right?
Right.
Have you ever discussed this thing, tracing back, finding a birth families? What did he say to you?
I don't think my brother feels the same way I do about finding his birth family. He was much younger than I was when he was given up. He was a newborn, and I think that he arrived to the States when he was still maybe 5 or 6 months old. We have a different perspective on it, but we do share an interest to learn about our culture. We have visited Korea together. We visited Daegu. We visited Gwangju, and just started to sort of connect back to our roots through that trip. But I think I hold a stronger interest in learning more, learning the language, visiting, maybe living there one day as well. But I've told him all that, and he is excited for me.
Okay. So you were there. Did you like the atmospheres and all those people there in the streets? Were they familiar? I mean, it's just a stupid question, but.
You know, when I went for the first time in 2013, I was already in my 20s, mid to late 20s, and I knew it was going to be a fun trip, but I didn't know how I would feel and how it would affect me. But when we landed, I'll never forget landing in Incheon, getting on that train into Seoul, and looking at the countryside, the beautiful mountainous countryside on the way into Seoul, and feeling in my heart, this is where I'm from. And it was a feeling I never had before, and it was beautiful, and I appreciate it a lot. And everything about Korea is so exciting to me. I've been back once more, so I've visited 2 times total. I can't wait to go back because I love looking like everyone around me. I love the food. I don't think there's anything that I am not interested in learning more about. Even the not as nice things, I'm still just doing my daily research about it.
Well, let me ask you this. Throughout this trip, all the good foods and all these trees and mountains. But from your bottom of your heart, did you ever think that why? And did it make you feel kind of sad?
No, during the trip, I didn't feel those feelings. I didn't feel sadness. I mostly feel sadness when I'm here. And really in the last several years, I felt the true disconnect since I have gone and come back. So there's that yearning to go back. That's where kind of my sadness comes from, is that I want to be more connected and I want to be more culturally educated and be able to go and blend in. But I think that that's a lot easier said than done.
Exactly. You briefly also mentioned that your parents had not as much as the idea about the racial issues here. We, of course, went through this Black Lives Matter election, all these political moves around. People are very sensitive about the racial issues and discrimination issues. I was told that your parents had a little different idea than yours. What happened?
Well, because they are white and grew up in a time when there was segregation and being discriminatory against other races was the reality of their time and what they grew up knowing. I think from the outset, we just had different perspectives when it came to race, and I think that because I am a person of color, I felt I had a little bit of a better understanding than they did of the plight, especially for Black people, and especially in the South, that my parents didn't have. And I think that there were some disagreements growing up and even today when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, and really anything when it comes to being them having privilege that I don't enjoy because I don't look like them.
I see. Wow. The group of high school students organized this Looking for Mom supporter group, and they came up with something for you. And I know this 11th grade student from La Palma, California made a short video to tell you something. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's watch it.
Hi, it's Marlo Borromeo. Yes, it's me again. And this video is for Amanda P. Now, recently I read your story during this Korea Daily project, and I kind of wanted to talk about it and sort of connect it with my own personal story. Now, I can't imagine how hard it was to go through an experience such as yours, not only struggling with your relationship with your adoptive parents, but to also struggle with your personal identity. With me personally growing up as a Filipino, I've had a struggle with assimilation to U.S. American culture. For example, learning English was a struggle for me because my parents only spoke to me in my native language. I was often made fun of for the lunch that I brought because it was so different from what people brought and ate here. My skin color and my English-speaking capabilities were talking points among my peers. While trying to assimilate and learn American culture, I unfortunately forgot some of my own. Yet through my years of education and learning more about my culture, I've come to grow out of that. Throughout the years, I've learned a valuable lesson, and that me personally, culturally, I am different and unique in my own way. I encourage you to continue your perseverance and hard work that has brought you so far. Hopefully, when you do see your birth parents face to face, you'll be able to connect back to your culture and also learn new things that you just didn't know before. The hurdles and obstacles you overcome have shown us how great and courageous you are, and all of us LFM members are inspired by your journey. Me and many others are cheering you on to stay strong and to stay optimistic, and hopefully this video helped in some way, shape, or form.
There's a Marlo Borromeo. How did you like it?
That was wonderful. So well spoken for an 11th grader.
Yes.
Speaks better than me.
I'm thinking you probably went through the same thing. It's really hard for even me, immigrants, adapting ourselves to this new environment. Thank you, Malo. So back to our conversation. According to the medical exam, the oldest papers from the foster home and also the medical clinic in Gwangju, I think you went through Joseon University and doctors examined you. It looks like you had a syphilis, congenital syphilis. Would that be a clue? What do you think?
I'm sorry, would that be what?
Would that be a clue for us to find your birth mom and family?
Most likely, since it was congenital, that means that my mother passed it along to me during birth. So I think that it is a clue because potentially that is why I was given up, because I, in order to get the medical care I needed to survive, that's something that can kill somebody if it's not treated quickly and properly. And from what I understand, it wasn't a quick treatment. It took some time. And I think I was very fortunate to have gotten that treatment when I did, because I really don't know what would have happened if I didn't, wasn't treated by the Red Cross and at Chosun at the time that I was found.
I see. And I'm sure you did a bit of research. How far have you dug so far? I mean, have you found any names around in Gwangju or any places or any foster home, any people to call for more information? How far have you done so far?
I haven't gotten very far. I have done some Google, online searching, trying to find even the high school, the name of the high school. I couldn't quite pinpoint where it was in the map.
Yeah, that high school was there, but then they moved down like several years ago.
That explains it then.
Yeah, yeah.
They moved. Okay. I've done DNA tests with 23andMe and put that data out on some of the other well-known sites. I haven't really gone much further than that because I haven't necessarily known how to go about searching or didn't have the tools to know where to start. And I've since learned in the last few years some ways to begin, so I plan to do that very soon.
I see. Any plan to go back and look around again?
Oh yes, as soon as possible. I'm always saying, all the time, I can't wait to go back and dreaming of going back. And I tell, especially my Korean friends, that we need to go back together because they can help me with the language. And I very much want to go back and enjoy the country some more.
I see. Have you taken any language classes so far? Has it been working?
Has it been working? So I have taken classes. I took a couple courses in the first 2 years of college.
I see.
That didn't stick so well. I was young and not a good student at that time.
Oh, come on.
But in the last couple of years, or maybe a year, since last summer, I started taking some online classes. And I've learned a lot more than I thought I was capable of.
I see.
I'm still not comfortable speaking conversationally. The speed still is hard, but I'm glad to know even a little bit, and I plan to keep studying.
Well, people are usually good at non-credit classes, so don't worry about it. Okay, so let's say this is hypothetical situation. Say you did enough of research and finally found your birth mom in Gwangju or maybe in Seoul. She's right in front of you, maybe crying, maybe not crying. What do you want to tell her?
I would thank her. I would say thank you for bringing me in this world and having the courage to give me up, if that's what the the case was, for a better opportunity. I would tell her that I harbor no anger. While I don't feel angry, I do feel the pain of, the loss of not having a blood relative in my life. But that hasn't kept me from a career and, making a life for myself here. So I see it as, this is the way things were supposed to go, and everything happens for a reason, and I'm just glad to have this opportunity to meet and tell you that everything's okay.
There are a lot of Korean American viewers out there, and even Korean viewers in Seoul and in the peninsula. They will watch this video clip, including all those Korean American adoptees friends out there. Do you have a message for them?
For everyone watching, I would say thanks for watching and learning and listening. I think a lot can be healed and solutions can be found by just listening to the countless stories of people just like me and understanding more how intricate it all is. It's not a cut and dry experience. It's not always happy. Sometimes it ends terribly. And I think that while a lot of us are not responsible for what's happened, we do have a responsibility now to listen and try to help out when we can, or at least just gain some understanding for the people that, like me, that didn't have a choice and grew up in a world that, wasn't always easy. So I'm appreciative for people listening, and I hope that you really take our stories to heart and learn something.
We should have more time to discuss things, but we'll keep in touch and get more details about your story, all right?
Great.
On behalf of the Korean American community, we will keep our fingers crossed, and we'll pray for your reunion.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's stay in touch. Thanks for your time, Amanda.
Thank you. Bye.
자, 여러분 혹시 유혜민 씨, 방금 여러분들이 보셨던 아만다 파워를 알고 계십니까? 혹시 87년 광주광역시 북구 임동에서 버려진 이 아이를 기억하고 계신다면 저에게 연락을 꼭 주시기 바랍니다. 87년에 발견됐고 이후 2살이 되던 89년 미국으로 입양됐습니다. 부모님의 이름이나 친지에 대해서 저희들이 갖고 있는 정보는 하나도 없는 상태입니다. 혹시 해당 지역에 사시는 분들이, 광주광역시에 사시는 분들이 이 영상을 보신다면 유혜민 씨가 가족을 다시 찾을 수 있도록 여러분들이 도와주시면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 주변 분들에게도 이 영상을 꼭 전해주시면 좋겠고요. 룩킹포맘은 경동나비의 미주법인이 후원해 주셨습니다. 다시 한번 감사의 말씀을 드리고요. 이 시간 진행에는 미주중앙일보 최인성이었습니다. 저희는 다음 인터뷰에서 다시 여러분들 만나겠습니다. 여러분 고맙습니다.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Yuhé민님이 and I am the president of National Center for the Rights of the Child, also known as the NCRC. The NCRC is the one and only government institute in Korea responsible for developing and implementing child policies and child welfare related projects. Well, every year we handle about 2,000 requests from adoptees to find their birth families and support them with our post-adoption services. Well, we are working diligently and we are here to listen to you and to help you navigate the search process in any way we can. We are working to enhance the adoption information disclosure system as well as the laws and system in Korea so that adoptees wishing to reunite with their birth families can access necessary information with ease. We will also expand the DNA test program to help more adoptees with little records about their birth parents successfully reconnect with their birth families. We are always here to help you find your family. We want your search to be successful. We are working closely with the government and other agencies and are supporting network building for the adoptee communities. The NCRC and Korean government will continue to listen to you and aid your journey to reconnect with your birth family. Thank you. 감사합니다.